want to cancel our pages because we're teaching people the truth according to the Bible. That's number one. Number two, when we see ourselves as those who went through captivity, it brings the discussion Holocaust to a whole nother level. Alright? So if anyone want to talk about a Holocaust and reparations and how you should actually restore people, then if no one had a monopoly on Holocaust, if one race can get paid for being treated a certain type of way, then how much should the children of Israel get? So they don't want that view out there. They just want the sympathy card to be on one people as a promotion, as one people being the children of Israel. That's one thing. Number two, we also teach and we compare so you can see it yourself that the agendas that are being taught in the earth is the same agenda and the same people who were operating before World War I and World War II. Showing you that these were systematic plans, calculated plans, the destruction that led up to World War II. We're showing you how they used Hitler as a boogeyman the same way they used Bin Laden. You notice they didn't find Hitler's body. They needed to create boogeymen, and we showed you that. And then showed you in scriptures, use scriptures to show you the deception of how they did that to us in 70 AD under Nero. It's one thing to see some of these so-called conspiracies operate in this earth. It's another thing to know why they're considered conspiracies in the first place and what people they're aimed towards. We had a lesson not too long ago talking about JFK. You notice JFK got killed during the Civil Rights Movement. Everything was surrounding the uprising of these particular people. But no one can put it together. We're also showing you that the legislation being passed today is an aim towards killing God's chosen people who are now awakening from their sleep. The whole agenda that they have nothing to do with Bin Laden or anything else. We told you years ago that they would change the narrative from the Arabs to us. And they did that with the so-called underwear bomb. That they would call us terrorists. That they would stop us from traveling, knowing that one day when people awaken, they seek a home. They seek a place of their own. And what happens when we realize that that place is a place that was given to Khazars in 1948 opposed to the children of Israel? It would totally disrupt the normal balance of things. They knew we would find out and when we would find out. They knew around the time that we would begin to awaken, and they would have a depopulation program in place for that particular time we're in. I need you to read the quote from Willie Lynch, a psychological trainer of slave masters. And mind you, Willie Lynch was Jewish. Now, I'm not really speaking against Jewish. I'm just speaking in terms so that you can understand who he is. By the same token, so that someone can't think I'm racist, when I speak of Rudolph R. Windsor, who was just on one of our radio shows on Blog Talk, when I speak of him, I tell people all the time, he's a black professor from Philadelphia who taught in Temple University. I say that all the time. So me pointing out someone Jewish is not hatred. I'm giving a physical description so you will know who I'm speaking of, the same way I do when it comes to telling people that Rudolph R. Windsor is a black historian. I'm not racist against Rudolph R. Windsor for stating his race. Okay? Or his ideology. That's another reason they wanted to point against this. Why? And I'm going to speak about it in a moment. They're about to roll out a whole agenda against Israelites, and they only want to use the negative connotation of Israelites through YouTube and social programming and social networks. That's the narrative they want everyone to see when they roll out this movie, because that will be the pretext. That will be like Nero, bringing forth the law that would one day destroy the children of Israel that happened before 70 AD. They need that narrative branded in people's minds because they can't do this by themselves. They need everyone out there, all religions, everyone, to hate an Israelite, because they're going to claim Israelites is a religion of hatred, when Israelites is not a religion at all. Israelites is a people. Israelites are a people. It's not a religion. Let's go back to Willie Lynch. What was his quote?
It says,
Now, for those who don't know who, For those who don't know who Willie Lynch is, Willie Lynch was hired. He was a top psychologist hired by rich plantation owners on how to break a slave and keep them under subjection or brainwashing for a long period of time. And through this brainwashing, they would think they're free. They would feel compelled to protect the slave master who enslaved them. You understand? Therefore, the slave masters can sleep a little easier, knowing that his slave is fully broken and is not looking to destroy the hand that feeds him. So that was a psychological profile. They must feel a dependency of the slave master as a father. So he told them that, listen, I'm going to give you this programming, and I'll let you know how long this programming will last. Now, we know the bulk of the slave trade was around the 1600s. Mid-1600s to late 1600s. And then you understand the New World Order began in America from Great Britain, the Masonic structure that would one day be built to destroy God's people in 1776. So I need you to keep those dates in mind. The 17th century going into the 18th century. What did Willie Lynch say there, lawyer?
It says, I guarantee every one of you.
He told the slave plantation owners, who are now corporate CEOs of your corporations, your Merrill Lynch's and all these other guys, okay, who are now over all of society. Your plantation owners are now your corporation owners. Okay? Read. I guarantee you what?
I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly,
that if you do what I'm showing you correctly,
it will control the slave for at least 300 years.
It will control the slave for at least how long?
300 years.
For at least 300 years. Willie Lynch's, thank you. Willie Lynch's own programming, his psychological programming is effective. But he told them, listen, you got 300 years before these people start waking up. So they had to build their construct while we were dealing with that period of sleep under the Willie Lynch program. So they knew that we would begin to wake up beyond any shadow of a doubt, because they know how long the programming lasts. And they needed a depopulation program in place for that particular time. So you got your George Bushes and your Bill Clinton saying that unless we do certain things, we cannot have a one world order. Well, what is this one world order? This one world order is to accomplish, to finish what the Romans tried to do to us at first, and eradicate the children of Israel from the four corners of the earth before the second coming of Christ. That's your one world order. We've been talking about this for the longest. And that's the biggest reason, that's the greatest reason, they are looking to cancel. I'm going to show you some bullet points. I'm going to show you some bullet points, brothers and sisters. of some of the things, do a recap or some of the things we've taught within the last couple of years. And I'm going to emphasize a few things out of that, out of what we've been teaching. They know these things are about to come to pass now. And they need our brothers and sisters in a state of ignorance in order for them to roll this out. And we purposely, through prophecy, have kept things up week by week so you'll understand where we are each week in prophecy. Purposely. And we've made a record of the videos that was out there. So if something was wrong in prophecy, they would let it be up there just so others can stand up and say, well, listen, he said this in the video, it's not happening. They said this in the video, it's not happening. They would keep it up there knowing that it was a lie. You know what's incredible? Willie Lynch, his greatest programming was, number one, you must put mammies up over the women, because the women instill the fear of the slave master over the next generation. Give us the women, we can control their young men. That was the first thing. Now, you can't put a mammy on every block. So lately, at the end of their New World Order transitioning, before they try to destroy us, they put up their own mammy, which is Oprah Winfrey. And she's the one that all women look to for advice. That was the mammy for the plantations. So he said, you must have a mammy. A big mama. That's what we call them down south. Big mama. And then, in order to keep her in control, we need to pick the strongest of the slaves, of the man, that's looking to get out of order because, you know, he's a little buffed and strong. And tie his feet on either side. And tie the ropes to the horses and have them go in opposite directions as fast as they can. Beat both horses and tear the man apart in front of everyone. To instill the fear, who's boss. And that alone would be enough fear. That alone would give enough fear for a few generations and instill protection in the mothers not to have that happen to their sons.
Let's go get me Willie Lynch. It says The Willie Lynch Letter and the Making of a Slave. You could get this on Amazon. It costs $5, okay? Now I want you to read, tell them what page you on.
Page 15.
Page 15.
The second chapter of page 15.
Come on.
Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle.
Now this is how the white man concocted a scheme in council on how to destroy the slaves. That's us. We're the slaves, our people. Read.
Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle.
So now he's comparing the female horse to the black woman. Go ahead.
Whereas you or anybody can ride her in comfort.
Time I was little and Lucretia Borgia used to fan me to sleep.
Lucretia Borgia say I knocked. She say I've been missing my time a month.
Hell, what'd she know?
She got 24 suckers. They kinda itch like and ache a little.
Mayhaps you're right.
Now you won't be wanting me no more. You'll be selling me or giving me the
Oh,
money.
Ellen, honey, now I ain't ever gonna sell you. You mine.
You ain't mad.
No. This how mad I'll be.